Before Breaking Bad, Hank Schrader was on a path of destruction. He was not the good, upstanding man we know today. Yeah, he was a cop, but he followed his own rules, did things his way. He had his own law. Let's get into the journey of Hank Schrader before Breaking Bad. Now, it's no secret that everyone and their mama has seen Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is my all time favorite show and is the reason I chose to study film. From Mr. Chips to Scarface, I loved every goddamn moment of the show, and yes, even Fly.
Stop acting like such a baby.
Hank had a somewhat opposite journey than Walter. Chances are, if you've seen Breaking Bad, you loved it. With the love and fandom we have for the shows, there are, of course, many questions, theories, and hopes to share. One question that intrigues me is what if Hank broke bad? The year is 2002. Hank is a cop in the streets of Los Angeles, gangs, rapists, murderers, and everything in between. Hank and his team deals with this on a daily basis. Here, Hank differs from most. He attempts to not only regulate the streets, but to control them. Well, how does Hank do this? How does he attempt to control the crime ridden streets of LA? By controlling the ones in charge of crime. This means being involved with top level street thugs, holding minor and major charges over their heads in order to manipulate them into Hank's doing, making them think they're on their side when in fact, Hank will let them die like the so called scum they are. Hank and Marie have three kids, one of which is autistic. Marie does most of the housework while Hank is at work. Hank is always working. And because of this, Marie basically has to raise two kids by herself. This proves as no easy task time and time again. Marie has multiple mental breakdowns simply because she just can't do it on her own. Don't get it twisted. Hank loves his kids unconditionally. He really has a soft spot for his kids. When it comes to his, Hank will do whatever it takes to keep a roof over their head and food in their bellies. Because his child is autistic, they will also need special treatment, attention, and care. And a cop's salary is not enough to support that. So, what does Hank do, provided the situation? He gets dirty, real dirty. The kind of cop that seizes drug money and takes his portion off the top. The kind of cop that has no problem beating the truth out of thugs. A cop that has no problem taking matters into his own hands. By this point, you're saying, wow, I really wish this was a show. Well, look no further. Enter the Shield. The Shield is gritty and hardcore. The Shield is funny in the darkest way. The Shield is a study of people and what happens when they get power, what people will do to attain power, the physical actions that are driven by our internal struggles, and how being a cop, how the Shield is all these guys have. The Shield is a police crime drama set in early 2000s Los Angeles. This is one of my all-time favorite shows. I would go as far as to say this show was Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad. It takes Vic Mackey, or in this case, Hank Schrader, and puts him in a crime-ridden Los Angeles. Here, he commands the strike team, a team of highly skilled police that operate how they want to. This goes from violent arrests and robbing thugs to theft of millions of dollars and all out murder. Hank Schrader wouldn't be Hank Schrader if it wasn't for his team. These are the guys that are down with your dirt and will do anything they can to protect each other. We have Shane, Lim, and Gardaki. Shane is Hank's day one, his best friend. He was there when everything started and has been there for Hank time and time again. Hank and Shane love each other as brothers, but the problem is Shane is ignorant in his beliefs and his actions. He looks up to Hank like an unspoken father. Hank's actions towards Shane drive his actions to a dangerous extent. Lim is an absolute trooper. He's large, strong, and agile, and definitely the one with the heart. Despite the dirt they have, Lim tries to do what's right when he can. He's the most relatable of the four in his intentions. There's not a single time Lim doesn't back the squad or puts the team first. He always tries to serve the team's best interest. Lim is the kind of guy that would let himself go down before he let the team go down. Gardaki is the clutch performer. He's quiet and sticks to himself, almost like a shadow. The thing about Gardaki is he's always working, always on the lookout, and always on the move. When things slip through the cracks, Gardaki is the last line of defense. We didn't see Hank have kids in Breaking Bad, but in The Shield, his kids are his driving force. Vic knows he can't live comfortably and provide for his family off police salary. It's important to remember that Hank is not a good man. Despite all of Hank's flaws, he loves his kids and will do anything for them. At its core, The Shield is an excellent police procedural. What The Shield does differently than Hill Street Blues, Law and Order, Southland, and NCIS is that we follow an entire team of dirty cops. Now, of course, with every great character, we have amazing side and supporting characters. They all have their own stories and plot lines inside and out of the precinct, as well as how they clash and collaborate with the strike team. The audience is shown how the job affects these policemen's home lives, as well as their personal lives affecting their jobs. Every last one of these characters has an internal struggle, and we see that reflected in every single episode. Dutch Wagenbach is one of the detectives in the Farmington precinct. Dutch is an innocent asshole. He's genuinely a good guy, but lets his ego get in the way. Time and time again, we see his high opinion of himself and his thoughts come to his fault. Dutch also struggles to demand respect. Because of this, Dutch is picked on and belittled through the entire show. The problem for Dutch is he fights back, trying to be the same asshole he hates. Claudette is Dutch's partner, and they complete each other. Claudette is probably the most dedicated cop in the precinct. Claudette is a very upstanding and respectful woman, but will call you on your bullshit in a heartbeat. Claudette mainly struggles with the burden of being a police officer, being a detective. She's overlooked when it matters, and this doesn't help when she makes very human and very understandable mistakes. We have Julian, who struggles with his sexuality, religion, and the expectations of what a man is. Remember that this show is in the early 2000s. A man who psychologically tortures himself just because of who he is. Danny genuinely just wants to be a good cop. She's not perfect, and none of the characters are, but in the line of duty, things must look that way. When they don't, bad things happen to good cops, and she is a prime example. Aceveda struggles with power and his manhood as well. A man expected with power who struggles to exercise it when necessary. He struggles to meet the expectations of everyone counting on him, yet his career, the very thing that gives him power, the power he wants to exercise, continues him down that spiral. Till this day, I still rewatch the show. Every episode feels like I'm watching it for the first time. I still feel every emotion and every bit of tension the show provides, even on my third watch through. God damn, I can't say how much I love this show. We have to take some of the focus on the interrogations. The interrogation room is set for so much engagement, lies, hard truth, and psychological warfare are all products of these four walls. We see every character have a formative event in this room to the point that it's symbolic. The room symbolizes isolation and confession, what people will do when their back is up against a wall, what people will do when they're out of options. We see police commit horrific acts that make the audience and characters question the shield. What does it mean to be a police officer? What does it mean to carry a badge and a gun? The Shield tries to answer this question as realistically as it can while still providing a thrilling story of dirty cops mixing with the clean, along with the gray area a lot of the characters commit to. On more than one occasion, race is a huge factor in crimes and cases. We have entire episodes with characters who start race wars. There are politicians that will protect a murderer of their own race just to ease tension. As a politician, one has to maintain appearance in order to uphold this. You can't go after your own race. They have to maintain racial tradition even if it means breaking the law. The Shield shows us that just because you're a good person doesn't mean you're a good cop. And just because you're a good cop doesn't mean you're a good person. There are plenty of times when good officers get mixed in bad things. Danny, for example, gets mixed up with Vic on more than one occasion. She risked her career more than once to cover dirt of other officers. Julian gets sucked into the bad, trying to find himself while also battling his own demons. The Shield shows us what the law means to these men. The Shield shows us that law can be irrelevant to some men, living by their own code. These are the codes they live by, and we are shown what they go through to uphold these codes. The audience is shown how fragile these officers can become emotionally and psychologically. Every one of these officers struggles with this balance. I want to thank you guys for watching my video on The Shield. If you've seen The Shield, I'm sure you can see the similarities between Hank and Vic. If not, please, please, please go watch The Shield. It's on Hulu. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one.